Who do you think leads the Democratic Party today?
Oh, we don't have one. I think the TDS. I think that's the leader right now. Right now our party is governed by the TDS, and now it's made it virtually impossible without being punished as a Democrat to agree something's good. Or I agree with the other side.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for choosing to hang out with your host, the Conservative Bird, and me, Double D. And you're on the Brick Road Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. We really do appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out. Also, if you could, before we get into everything, you know the deal. Make sure to hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and smash the notification. It's the quick, easy, and free way to help this channel grow as big as possible. So, Double D, it seems like day by day, more and more, John Fetterman falls farther and farther away from the Democratic Party. Do you agree?
Oh, I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, I think the Democratic Party has fallen so far away from him, they've left him no choice.
I honestly think they've fallen far away with any moderate Democrat who doesn't have TDS, which I know it's hard to believe that there's actually some of those, but there are some Democrats that don't just have full-blown TDS. They're like, it is what it is. He's our president regardless.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that John Fetterman is standing up as the Lone Ranger against the Democratic Party when it comes to that issue. And that's a tough thing to do, Bird. Yeah. To stand up against your own party. That takes a lot of sack, bro. And it's respectful. I got to respect it. I don't agree with 70% of the stuff that he votes for. But man, I respect the hell out of it, though.
Yeah, I like the fact that at least, and at least seemingly not more so nowadays, he's starting to put country over party, which is what, in all honesty, every politician should do at this point. At any point, honestly, that's what they should have been doing since day one.
They all should have been doing that. I absolutely agree. And the party politics, honestly, dude, party politics is happening on both sides. It does seem to be happening a little bit more on the left right now because they're at the disadvantage right now because they're in the minority as far as, Congress and Senate go. So they're kind of taking advantage of that and using that to try to gain advantage. So, which is why you have all these, TSA workers not getting paid. And obviously, John Fetterman thinks they should be getting paid too, and I agree with that. Bottom line is he's putting, like you said, putting country before party.
You want to know what's funny? That if you ask a far left liberal, they'll tell you that this is in Project 2025.
Would they really?
Oh yeah.
I've had it done. You know what's ironic? Donald Trump don't even know what Project 2025 is. He looked like he saw a ghost the first time they mentioned Project 20. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
The first time they mentioned it to him, he really literally looked like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
That is so funny.
And I believed it because he really looked like he didn't know.
Yeah. So
I don't even know.
We have a few clips here proving, to me at least, that if John Fetterman isn't leaving the Democratic Party, he's probably one of the most modern Democrats I've seen in the past 20, 30 years.
I would agree with that. Even more moderate than Manchin at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Because he's still stuck around where Manchin said, "Hey, I'm just out of here."
Tulsi Gabbard, she walked away from the Democratic Party and switched.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're going to see Fetterman do that.
No, maybe not.
I think it would be to his advantage if he did, though.
I think it's more so to our advantage that he doesn't, because at least we got a Democrat that's willing to see what's right and what's wrong.
But if he did switch parties, we'd have an even bigger majority.
That's true. Well,
you know what I mean?
No, I don't disagree. So without further ado, let's get into this clip.
Who do you think leads the Democratic Party today?
Oh, we don't have one. I think the
it's a bold statement.
I think that's the leader right now.
Statement.
Right now our party is governed by the TDS, and now it's made it virtually impossible without being punished as a Democrat to agree something's good. I agree with the other side.
Oh my goodness, Chairman.
Wow. So, that's a very, very bold statement coming from somebody who is a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah, he's definitely a lifelong Democrat, at least himself.
But-
I mean, I know he's mentioned his family members were Republicans, but
Right.
I think they're kind of split, honestly.
And in all honesty, I feel like a lot of the, not a lot of the people, but when you're going to find the same Democrats like that are going to be the ones with family members who are, tend to lean the other way politically.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how my family is.
Yeah. My family, I don't know, 70-30 maybe. 70% leaning towards conservative side.
Honestly, at this point, I think it's just me and my brother that are the only conservatives.
That's crazy.
Everybody, all my cousins and the rest of my family are pretty much Democrats, and well, we don't even talk anymore because of it.
So another big thing with the Democrats is for some reason they just want wide open borders. They just want to let every illegal from wherever pour into here not be documented, not be accounted for, and just to roam our streets freely. And Fetterman doesn't agree with that, and of course he's going to get the backlash from the Democrats.
And Fetterman also agreed with the military action in Iran. He went against his party with that, and he is adamant about that too, by the way.
Right. So right here we have him talking with Laura Trump a little bit on Fox. Let's get into it.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Let that clip
about what
roll.
you might not have heard while the Department of Homeland Security has been shut down. Anti-ICE agitators blew agents cover in Boston, allowing a child rape suspect to evade arrest for weeks. An illegal immigrant student was accused of groping girls in Virginia, where the Democrat governor is actively working to keep state authorities from collaborating with the feds. And ICE arrested an illegal immigrant in a hit and run that killed a Texas deputy. CISA is investigating an Iranian cyber attack while their agency remains unfunded. Not to mention, you may have noticed this too, TSA lines across the country stretching out of control as officers continue to go without pay. And still, instead of working to confirm Markwayne Mullin to get things back on track, at least one rogue lawmaker thought it was more important to air personal grievances.
A Trump-hating felon attacked me from behind in my yard. You told the media that I was a freaking snake and that you completely understood why I had been assaulted.
As far as my terms as snake in the grass, sir, I work around this room to try to fix problems. I've worked with many people in this room. Seems like you fight Republicans more than you work with us.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He's not telling a lie right there. He's not. He's not. Rand Paul seems to go against Republicans a little bit more than normal. I don't want to say he's teetering Rhino levels, but he could get there.
Well, he's basically our version of the Democrats' Fetterman situation, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like Rand Paul. I mean, I know you're sketchy about him, and I get it. I totally understand it. I normally like Rand Paul, but again, I only agree with about 30% of what he says.
Yeah, there you go.
So the numbers are the
despite
same.
Despite the pushback, Senator John Fetterman crossed party lines to try and win
It's funny you just said that because they literally show him. It's like we traded Rand Paul for Fetterman.
Pretty much. You know what? I'll make the switch. They can have him. I'll take Fetterman over Rand Paul.
Senator
I'll
Fetterman
take him.
joins me now. And Senator Fetterman, welcome back to the show. We are one step closer to Senator Mullin actually being confirmed as the new DHS secretary, and that's thanks to a yes vote from you. So I'm curious what it was that actually made you vote yes for him. What was that deciding factor?
I'm not going to lie. Here's my thing, Double D. I do like the question that she's asking, but you know what I think the better question is?
What's that, Bird?
Why did Rand Paul vote no?
That is a really good question. I think Rand Paul voted no, and I'm going to quote, Clay Travis and Buck Sexton on this one. He voted against him because he just don't like him.
Right, personal reasons. I was just about to say that. I'll guarantee it's personal reasons.
That's all it is, bro.
And that's sad. And that's sad because that is not something that a Republican or a conservative is meant to do. We're supposed to put our feelings to the side and just go based upon the facts and what's best. And in all honesty, I feel like Mark Wayne Mullin at this point, we probably can't do better than that right now.
No, probably not. And here's the thing, dude. No matter how much the Democrats might hate each other personally, they always stick together when it comes to appointing their own people. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
When it comes to the Democrats, dude, they don't fight each other like that.
No.
So why is Rand Paul fighting? I don't get it. Why, Rand Paul? Why are you fighting us? I don't understand it.
He's going to have to answer that himself one day.
Probably had a lot of pushback from your fellow Democrats on that.
Well, one, because I believe in a very secure border. And we also agree that we should deport all of the criminals. My friend Mark Wayne and we agree on that. And also, I also have a relationship with him as well, too. So I voted for him because he is a friend, and he and I have the same kinds of priorities about our security. And now I know I'm going to take a lot of Democratic blowback, which is strange to me, because there wasn't really a lot of Democratic outrage when 300,000 people were encountered at our border back during the prior administration. Yep. As a Democrat, I started to make that argument. Now, and the people that are criticizing...
Exactly. And, people fail to realize that during Biden's presidency, Fetterman was very, very vocal about it, about wanting the border to be secure, not letting so many, just all of it. So he was vocal about it. I'm not saying I agree with him about everything, but I like to see that he's actually having moments of common sense nowadays.
I mean, I'm happy with the fact that I agree with about 30%. I don't have to agree with everything Fetterman says to still think that he's a good leader.
Right.
I was hugely critical of Fetterman in the beginning because of the strokes, and I'm thinking to myself, this man's not going to be capable. But you know what? He turned out to be handy capable. I was wrong.
Many of them were even in Congress at the time that had no problem with that. We might be in the same Democratic Party, but clearly they didn't have an issue with that open border situation, and that's why I vote for Senator Mullin, and I look forward to working with him. So that might isolate me with some people in my party, but that's not country over party.
Yeah, well, speaking of that shutdown, that's one of the reasons, Senator, that this confirmation is even more critical. We're still in the midst of that DHS shutdown, and we're seeing the consequences of that. If anybody's gone to the airport lately, those TSA lines are totally out of control all across the country. And we have a domestic terror threat that's still looming large right here in America. So we know that the negotiations have been very slow going at best. How do you see that playing out in terms of this shutdown?
I don't know. Honestly, I can't speak for anyone, just me. I've been consistently the only Democrat to vote against this shutdown. It's wrong.
That's true.
You witnessed what happened in Michigan. That individual drove into the synagogue. He showed up to kill 150 toddlers. So why would you want to make America more unsecure in the middle of these kinds of attacks?
And I think that's the biggest thing. That's the thing that people fail to realize is we're not saying, hey, just because you're not an actual criminal, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just because of the fact that you came over here illegally. We don't know what people are capable of. And if you're going to come here the right way. I don't care if you're a criminal. I don't care who you are. If you came here illegally, you got to go.
I mean, honestly, Bert, if you came here illegally, you're already a criminal.
Exactly.
Your first act in our country cannot be breaking the law to come into our country. I mean, it's not rocket science. And we all know why the Democrats want we all know why. It's all about the votes.
Yeah.
You notice they were flooding blue states. They wanted to make sure that they were trying to raise the amount of representatives that they would have in those states. And they knew they would be more Democrat representatives. It ain't rocket science.
That's true.
Very simple math.
It's very true.
Now, if you've seen any one of those disaster movies about a cyber attack.
By the way, the most important thing is what I said earlier, the same thing that Fetterman said. He puts country over party.
That's what it is, man. And God bless him for that, man. I mean, there's just too many politicians that don't do that anymore. And your first job as a senator or a congressman or the president or the Supreme Court, your first job is putting this country and our Constitution first. It's not rocket science. It's right there in the writings.
Guess what? The cybersecurity agency is under DHS, and that's shut down right now. And now you will also see people, if you're flying, you're going to see long, long lines. And I am there all the time. I ask all of those TSA agents, hey, do you like getting paid? Yeah, we do, you know. And that's an important thing. Now, that's, for me, that's a violation of our core values as a Democrat, to punish union workers, you know, going without getting paid.
Yeah, it's a really a shame to see. And listen, I think a lot of Americans are appreciative that you seem to be the lone Democrat who wants to reopen the government.
He's the only
You're also
Democrat.
the lone
Literally
Democrat,
the
I'm
only
gonna
one.
pivot to Iran for a moment, who has voiced public support for Operation Epic Fury. Why do you think that is, Senator?
Well, because Democrats, you know, agreed with that. When Kamala Harris ran for president in 2024, she identified Iran as her top concern. Every single Democrat has said, can't ever allow them to acquire a nuclear bomb. And when someone does that and make sure that's almost impossible, why can't we celebrate that? That comes from the truth, that because the other side did that, you know, and if it comes from Trump, it's punishing as a Democrat to agree with that thing. And that's the place, and that's where I live, in that space. But I will always follow what I think are the moral clarities, and that's whatever you want to, you know, country over party. But it's a great thing that Iran has been broken. Now, why am I the only Democrat that just says those same things?
Now,
you know me, Double D. I'm not a big proponent of the war. I don't like it. I don't like that we're doing it.
No.
I've also heard earlier they were talking on PBD, and they might be putting boots on the ground as early as this Sunday, which I don't like as well. I don't know if it's true. I'm also having a wait and see attitude about it. You know what I mean? I'm not like just getting overly emotional, like, oh, Trump's a piece of shit, worst president ever, getting us into a war. I'm just waiting and seeing what happens and hoping that it doesn't drag on too long. That's my whole thing.
I mean, let's not forget Trump's a great negotiator.
No, I agree. And let me get into what I was talking about, though. Okay, and it's crazy the fact that what he said is 1,000% spot on. That every Democrat has said that Iran is our biggest threat forever. Right? Kamala Harris said it. Joe Biden said it. Barack Obama said it. Everyone has said it. Right? So, I don't agree with us being there. I don't want to see no troops on the ground. I don't like a lot of things that are going on. With that being said, what he's saying is true.
All right, here's the question I have, Bird. If Joe Biden had made this decision, do you think the Democrats would be acting the way they are about it right now?
No, because he started the funding with Israel and Palestine and Ukraine, and he started all this funding. So they were all on board with it until Trump stepped in.
Until Donald Trump stepped in and said, okay, fine,
and now
we're going to handle this.
And now they're against it, obviously. And
I don't personally think the boots on the ground is going to happen. That doesn't mean that I'm right.
No, I hope not. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it doesn't.
I think we're going to come to a resolution before that. Honestly, I really do.
Let's hope, because they denied his 15-point pact or 15-point thing that he wanted to do to resolution.
They definitely did say no to that, but I think they're trying to pull the card too. I think they're bluffing. Honestly,
yeah. Well, like I said, I'm having
about 90% of their capabilities now. So
yeah, like I said, I'm having a wait and see attitude about it. You know, I'm gonna just wait and see. I'm not gonna look too much into it and just hope that Donald Trump can get us out of this.
That's really all we can do at this point. I mean, nobody wants a war. That's as simple as that. But if there has to be one, then we're better off just getting behind our president and getting behind our troops so that we can get this done quickly as possible and get out of it and achieve the goal which is no nukes in Iran. Because let's face it, dude, if they have them, they're going to use them.
Yep.
Go to something you made a lot of headlines for earlier this week. You commented that the Democrats don't really have a real leader and are instead governed by what it sounds like you were just talking about, Trump derangement syndrome.
Truth.
So can you expand on that a little bit? And do you see this changing anytime in the near future for your party?
Yeah, it is going to change. It's going to get worse. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When someone asked about, who's the leader, I'm like, yeah, that's TDS. Increasingly, this party's defined by the opposite of that. I said that in the interview. If the president could come for ice cream and lazy Sundays, we would immediately want to vote it down. And I don't understand that space. We used to agree, stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. We all used to agree, never allow those things. Finally, holding Iran accountable is, that's a good thing. And I know that that's punishing as a Democrat to support that. Clearly, that's why I'm the only one. But, I'm also proud to stand with Israel. That also isolates me. And now watch the kinds of people that are running for the Senate as Democrats. They're becoming more and more anti-Israel.
He's right about that.
Yeah, and
He's
me,
right about
I'm
that.
not for the whole Israel thing. I'm not saying like I'm super anti-Israel. I'm just not for all that's going on right now. But with that being said, he's still telling the truth.
Yeah, he is. Whether you agree or disagree with Bibi, the truth be told is there is a strong anti-Israel sentiment, and that anti-Israel sentiment's been going on way before this war started.
So him saying that the Democrats are governed by TDS, I 1000% agree, and I've been saying that for the past 7-8 years now.
Dude, they have been governed by TDS since Donald Trump came down that escalator and announced that he was running as a candidate for the Republican Party. Do you think they would have a problem with Donald Trump if he was running as a Democrat?
No, because they knew he was going to expose them on everything.
Exactly.
Discovered that you're not allowed to support Israel as a Democrat, but it's okay if you have a Nazi tattoo on your chest, as a Democrat running for the Senate.
Yeah, it's really shocking.
He's talking about the
I want to
guy
ask
from
you
Maine.
about this.
Yeah, it's so funny.
You had Democratic strategist James Carville, who had some choice words about your opinions and your voting record recently. Listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, let's listen to what the lizard man has to say.
Stay right where you are. Because you've been wrong about every thing that you've ever said. And can I assure you that the fact that you think it's a good idea is not going to matter one whit to any Democrat.
Doesn't this guy got flies to catch with his tongue?
What do you say?
Jim has been struggling for relevance for the last.
The funniest thing is when they make fun of James Carville on Family Guy. It's hilarious.
He does literally look like something from that movie V. He looks like a lizard person. He looks like his tongue would whip out and catch a grasshopper.
Yeah. It's so funny. So earlier today,
I'm just saying. He really does. He looks like a lizard.
So you sent me this clip, Double D. This is the one of Kayla McEnany. Give us a little detail about it.
Oh, well, basically, she's just talking about the DHS shutdown and, and how Donald Trump will be sending in the National Guard if necessary. But it looks like right now, honestly, I'm not even sure if we even need to show it because right now it's looking like they're doing pretty good with just the ICE agents, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not lying. You're not lying about that. I actually seen a video where like ICE agents were giving people like bottles of water at the thing, and they were like, "Oh, thank you. You're making this go a lot smoother than it was."
So the one video right there also is the other one that you showed. That was basically what we just saw Fetterman say.
Okay, so we're good then.
Yeah, pretty much good. I mean, honestly, dude, I think honestly, if we send in the National Guard to the airports, it's only because they're going to be short of staff. That's really the only. Right now, it seems to be working. So I'm not even sure it's relevant anymore.
Yeah,
well, I guess we'll find that out as we get closer to Easter. Because, there's a lot of travel coming up in the next week.
Yeah, for sure. So, my final thoughts is I commend Fetterman for this. He's putting country over party, and that's honestly what all politicians should do.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And like I said, just like Rand Paul, I agree with about 25 to 30% of what comes out of Fetterman's mouth, just like I agree with about 25 to 30% that comes out of Rand Paul. But the one thing I will say for John Fetterman, yeah, he puts country before party, and he's the only one with enough sack to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, I don't see any other Democrats doing it. Do you?
No, I don't. I really don't. I haven't seen one be willing to step up. And I mean, other than, RFK and Tulsi Gabbard stepping the line and crossing over and becoming Republicans.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago now. That's like history.
Yeah.
I'm talking about right now. I don't think there's another Democrat right now that is standing up for America.
Chat, let us know down in the comments below. Do you guys know another Democrat besides John Fetterman right now that is willing to stand up for America and do what's right? Let us know.
Even if it's on the local and state level, let me know, because we don't have any here.
Yeah.
We don't have any in our state.
I can't.
We don't have any in our locality. I can't think of one. Can you?
No,
I can't think of one.
I can't think of any. So on that note, we're going to end it. Most importantly, I want to thank God, because without him, none of this is possible. I want to thank Double D. I want to thank the audience, and I want to thank my friends and family.
And as always, Bert, thanks for making the show happen, as you always do. And audience, thanks for sticking around and checking it out. You're the reason, we're the reason. Most importantly, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, I have no reason. And with all that, good night, y'all.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Peace.